Hey everybody, Alan Richardson, the managing broker at Maximum One, here with Keisha, our compliance broker.
Hello.
How we doing? So starting last week, we did our very first sales meeting virtual last week, and we got really great response from it. And so the other thing that we wanted to do was during this time when there's so much confusion going on about what's happening in the market, and with so many questions and a lot of people are very anxious, we just wanted to start kind of doing a weekly sales meeting where we just kind of reach out very informally kind of thing and kind of go over the state of the market, what's going on, kind of bring everybody up to speed at the same time. And so we wanted to talk about all that because there are a lot of concerns going on with coronavirus and what's happening, and what does that mean for the real estate market? What does it mean for the economy in general? And we just got to stay calm. And so the very first thing that we really want to come across is that, the world is not ending. No one has their hair is not caught on fire. We just need we got to get through this whole thing. And it's not, and as soon as we get through it, it really is going to be something that we're going to be able to look back on. But, when you're in it, it's much harder when you're going through the valley than to look back on it. So that being said, we're just going to kind of jump in here, and so I prepared some information, and so there's a PowerPoint that's going to be going on behind us here, and I'm going to share the PowerPoint because in it has a lot of content that you can be sharing out on social media. Because one of the things that we really want you to do right now is that to double your engagement. A lot of people are choosing to let their business fall by the wayside. And if that's your choice, that's, you own your own company. You can do it however you choose. But at the same time, we're seeing people who are taking their business to the next level. We had one agent that got 2 listings last week. We had and one that went on 2 different listing appointments and got both of those in the same week. There are challenges. There's no doubt, and I'm not going to lie to you, be like, yeah, everything is perfect in the way it always has been. That's not true. That being said, you're going to see that winners rise to the top. And so, we still saw a ton of showings this weekend. We still saw a lot of activity on pipeline. Have we lost some contracts? We have, but less than about 15% actually. So is it going to impact? Yes, but the vast majority, not so much. At the same time, there's a lot of really positive things to be looking at. So we're just going to kind of run through this real fast so that you can, and then again, once we finish with this, I'll share the PowerPoint and you guys can share these out as well. So first thing, Fannie and Freddie, they suspended all foreclosures for the next 60 days. And so we are, while we see this as kind of a stopgap measure, it's one of the things that the government does just to kind of, protect the market and the whole 9 yards. So for the next 60 days, now, are people going to take advantage of that? Maybe so, but for a lot of people, this is going to just give them a little bit more peace of mind that there won't be any foreclosures for the next 60 days. They won't start any foreclosure procedures, and they would have stopped any others for the next 60 days. So on that side, just to help add a little bit of stability to the market, it really doesn't affect anything for us right now at all. So the next thing is that new construction starts are up 40% over last year. So we're seeing that new construction is such an important part of our market, mainly because new construction drives the rest of the market. When someone buys a new construction home, now their home can go on the market and they can get sold, and it just kind of starts the entire process. So we need new construction. But we went out and talked to the builders, and all the builders are like, coronavirus is not a concern for us. We know that this is going to be a hiccup. This is going to be a blip. And as a matter of fact, we don't have enough inventory right now to satisfy the clients we already have. And so all the builders are not scared. They're not pulling off. They're not pulling back kind of thing. At the same time, we have Redfin has pulled their iBuyer program. Zillow, Opendoor, OfferPad have all suspended buying. And so that's kind of a really positive thing. Yes?
Very.
Okay. So now all of a sudden our clients can, or it opens up a lot more properties that our clients could actually buy kind of thing as well. So, I love that the iBuyers are not necessarily in our market anyway. The other side of that is if you really look at the data, iBuyers have been declining. And that's one of the things that's not really been in there. If you look in the Phoenix market, Phoenix has been kind of the epicenter of iBuying. It all started there. It's kind of where it all went. And iBuyers are, the purchases of iBuyers in Phoenix is down 30%. And so while iBuyers have an appeal, one thing that has happened in the real estate industry is we've learned from them, because they came in and their message was fast, easy, transparency, speed. And so we've had to adapt our model somewhat so that we can compete against them. And that's actually, we're seeing where there's a drop in iBuyers. And that's really, really good for all of us, because I would love to crush the iBuyers. And so the fact that they're struggling right now. The other side of this is that the iBuyers get their money out of investors on Wall Street. And all the investors on Wall Street took their money and put it into bonds. And so now none of the iBuyers actually have any money to buy houses. Now they're all citing coronavirus issues, but really they don't have any money because all their money comes off Wall Street. And with the stock market in the shape that it is right now, they've all moved their money into bonds at the moment. So next year is our mortgage rates. Mortgage rates are like you need a crystal ball at the moment, because they kind of really are all over the place. And we have a little bit of bait and switch going on, because the federal fund rate got dropped a week ago, but the federal fund rate does not drive mortgage rates. Mortgage rates traditionally follow the 10-year Treasury note, and you can see on that screen right there that it generally follows. But if you look at recently, even though the 10-year Treasury has dropped, interest rates haven't dropped. Not only have not interest rates dropped, they've actually gone up, kind of thing. And so we've seen the 30-year mortgage rate that's actually increased. And if you look at the numbers from just this past week, they've really, really gone up even more, kind of thing. So on one hand, when we say interest rates have gone up, don't overcomplicate that, because interest rates are still at like 3.6, 3.7. It's phenomenal interest rates. It's up from 3.2. But when you look at historically how that turns out, and I'll show you another slide in a minute, that's nothing anywhere close to where we have been historically. But the other side of that is that and part of this bump has been because the lenders are inundated with new loan applications. So with the feds dropping the federal fund rate, a lot of lenders have just had their phones blown up. They've pulled more mortgage applications in the last week than they almost have throughout the entire first part of the year. In part, now folks are just sitting around the house and they have time to do that kind of stuff, but the lenders are really, really hammered right now. And in turn, they raised some of the interest rates. Some of those interest rate jumps are from the individual lenders themselves, kind of thing, wanting to hold it back a little bit. So on one hand, things are really, really good. We really need to be engaging our lenders right now, because a lot of our lenders have so many folks that are reaching out to them, and we need to be highlighting that. But the other side of that is when you look at really what has interest rates done over time. And when you look in the 80s, when interest rates were like 12.7%, I mean, my parents, their first house was almost at 13 when they bought their home, kind of thing. And, and even if you look at the 90s when it was at 8% and down at 6.2 in the thousands, and then today at 3.5, 3.6, that's just phenomenal. And it's really, really helped with the affordability of our buyers today. So on one hand, yes, we are going to see an increase in interest rates. Where do I think they're going to go? My magic ball says that we will see another slight drop. That being said, I'd get in and be ready to lock if the rates drop some more. The over time, it really is, interest rates really are tied to the federal, to the 10-year Treasury, and we will start seeing that. But there's so much volatility in the stock market right now that so many people took their money out of stocks, put it into bonds, that it's making it really hard for that to really happen right now. So as people shift back over and put more money back into the stock market, we should see interest rates drop a little bit more again, historically speaking, and that's my opinion for what it's worth. So our economy right now is faltering. There's just no doubt about it. And I think that if you take this approach of everything's fine, nothing going on, I think that you're not being wise about it, kind of thing. Now, just because we are now, first of all, let me back up. What is a recession? A recession is where GDP drops, kind of thing. And so don't overthink about it. Right now there's a lot of people that can't work. Airlines, all the hospitality sectors, that kind of stuff. There's a lot of people that can't go to work right now. There's a lot of people that have lost some jobs here recently. Whole thing is that is this going to drive a recession for us? It absolutely is. Now that doesn't mean that everything is terrible, kind of thing. When you look at what's going on overall with the economy, we actually have a lot of strength going on. And traditionally, when these kind of dips, short-term dips, on the other side is a rise as well, kind of thing. And so we are looking at a decline in the quarter that we're in, and possibly the next quarter. But then we're also going to be looking at a rise, and I'll show you some more information that shows that. So understand that we are in a coronavirus recession. Okay, and I want you to key in on the fact that it's a coronavirus recession, in that it's driven by the coronavirus, and when the coronavirus is done, the recession is going to be done. So this is not systemic issues with our economy, or this is not where housing has gotten destroyed, or any of these kind of things. This is about the coronavirus. Coronavirus put a lot of people out of work, but we're also poised to take advantage of that. We're also poised to really weather this storm. And these are some of the interesting things I want to share with you, because when you start talking recession, immediately everyone starts talking 08. They remember what happened in 08. They remember what happened with housing 08. Realtors running around with their heads on fire. It was not a great time for real estate, but in part we were part of that cause. But when you start looking at what's happened on previous recessions, kind of thing, we have this, when it's a short-term blip, such as with 9/11 and with the dot-com drops that we had, there was an immediate recovery that came right back out of it. And what we're really looking is to be, and financially, the economy is very similar in times to when we had 9/11 and the dot-com. With 9/11 affected hospitality, airlines, travel, all that kind of stuff. The exact same thing that's being affected right now. And so are those industries going to take a punch? No doubt, they absolutely are. But on the positive side, there's a lot of differences between then and now. If you look at the amount of equity that Americans took out of their home prior to the 2008 crash, it was over $800 billion that Americans had taken out. The past 3 years now, only 200 and something billion. So about a $600 billion improvement in the amount of equity that Americans own in their home today. Next is payment is based on a percentage of income is the lowest that it's ever been. Our historic norms have it right at around 21%. We're currently at about 15%. So overall payment is the lowest that it's ever been, really, since we started tracking it. And so this is really great times, and for that, a lot of that is driven because of where our interest rates are today. Next thing, savings. If you look at the amount of savings the average American had in 08, it's nearly double where they are now. So now we have twice as much savings on average. Another thing that should help us to weather through a short economic storm. Homeowners now are way more conservative than they have been in the past. 37% of all homeowners have no mortgage at all. They completely own their home outright. Of the remaining 63%, a quarter have more than 50% equity in their home. So Americans are in really much better shape to be able to handle that, any kind of blip in our economy right now. Annual homeowner appreciation, if you look coming up to the 2008, when you look at how much that appreciation is, we were 13% appreciation during those years leading up to it, whereas the appreciation that we've seen over the past 5 years has been much more modest and really following along with traditional norms, kind of thing. Inventory of homes going into 2008. In 2007, we were sitting on 8 months of standing inventory. Right now, we're sitting over a little over 3. Now, a lot of that is highly based on the price point of where the home is. If you're under 225, 250, something like that, it continues to be a seller's market. We have very tight inventory. When you're in the mid ranges, we're seeing the market's much flatter, meaning the number of buyers and sellers is very similar. And once you get into the high end, we're seeing it's even more of a buyer's market at that point. Overall, though, we're seeing inventory levels are really, really tight. We have more buyers than we have sellers right now. And that's a really great place for us to be, because it continues to be a market that is driven by the amount of sellers coming in. Our sellers are staying in their homes much longer, which is another reason why we have a lot of our sellers have so much equity in their homes. So the percent of income needed to purchase a median priced home, in 2006 was 25%. Now it's only 15%. If you look at the housing and mortgage crash of 2008, and you see where the stock market values dropped around 50%, you can also see how that corresponded into property value declines. During the 2008 crash, we saw massive property value declines. However, if you look at the .com and the 9/11 crashes that we saw the same impact on the stock market. If you look at the S&P 500, it was around 50%, 45%. Sorry. But if you look at the annual home price appreciations, they were not together, because we still had this big drop on the stock market, but property values didn't drop. That's what we're looking at being much more realistic about today. So a recession does not equal housing crisis. We have to understand that these two are not necessarily tied together. The knee-jerk reaction is, it's going to be 2008 all over again, but it's not. And we need to be the voice of reason and the one that's showing really what's going on. And that's why I want you to be able to take these slides and share these slides out to your clients, kind of thing. So and also if you talk to the economists, so this is from Wells Fargo, and they agree, kind of thing. We are going to see a drop. And when you talk to the Goldman Sachs people, they're looking at this quarter being pretty flat, about a 5% drop the next quarter, and then the following 2 quarters are going to be up 4 and 5%, or 3 and 5%. So we're going to come out of this. So we're going to have a dip, but then we're also going to have a bigger rise on the other side. Is really what realistically we're looking at. So this is our past 5 recessions. If you look at the past 5 recessions, now we already know what happened in 2008, but really if you focus on the previous 4 recessions, property values increased. And only one did they drop by 1.9%. So, is this going to be a different economy? Yes. Does that mean that there's no opportunities and that we need to shove our head in the sand and we just need to forget about doing real estate? No. We need to be really, really proactive about all the things that we can do to continue to generate sales and business. Really at the end of the day, it's going to come down to leadership. We've got to show leadership in our markets with our clients. So very first thing, we got to be building trust. So, we're going to build trust by engaging and reaching out to our people. We have plenty of time right now. A lot of us are homeschooling our kids and working with them at home, that kind of thing. But we need to be taking that time to reach out, upping our engagement, and truly, when we reach out, we don't need to reach out with like, hey, how are things going? Be like, hey, I know things are tough right now. Do you have any questions about real estate? Can I answer this over here? Look for those opportunities to really, build trust with your clients, kind of thing. Always use their first name when you reach out. People love having their first name, and like hey, hello, Mr. Smith is very different from hey, Bob. And so that's another thing that helps you build trust. Make sure that you take time to listen. Listening to our clients is one of the biggest things. God gave us 2 ears, 1 mouth. We should use them in that proportion, kind of thing. So do throw things out there, but also be ready to just listen. A lot of people just with social distancing right now, how many people feel disconnected? Well, your clients are the same way. We can just do a great job connecting over phone and through social media and doing the whole 9 yards. So trying to introduce stability into the marketplace. Be be the person that has their head screwed on, and that we're not contributing to hysteria, that kind of stuff. We need to be calm and conscious about the messages that we're sending out and what we're saying and how we're reacting out there into our marketplace, kind of thing. A lot of that's going to come from, where's your true north? Your true north is going to be highly dependent on, for me, it's my faith. But you need to work off those convictions right now. And having that true north is really what's going to give you your direction and being able to guide and lead. You may not see yourself as a true leader, but I can tell you that in the real estate industry, within your sphere of influence, you're a leader. And now you can either take that as a positive opportunity for you to reach out, or you can you can just be the one that builds fear. That's not going to help your business, and it's not going to help your clients. And when you look at the true numbers of what's going on in our economy, if you're out there, talking doom and gloom, are you really helping your clients out? Because we're looking to be able to come out on the other side of this in a very, very positive way, kind of thing. So make sure that we're sharing a lot of positivity through hope. We need to be talking about hope and that are people going to get sick with this? Absolutely. But we need to be showing our heart. We need to be reaching out on a very consistent basis. We need to be showing that we truly care. That's going to go a very, very long way. But at this point, we have the opportunity to be the leaders in our industry, and I really do pray that you will. So I've kind of bogarted the large portion of this, but Keisha also has some stuff that what do you want to share with us a little bit too? So
okay. Well, first of all, good morning. I hope that everyone is taking the necessary precautions, being safe. And at the same time, I hope that you are trying to educate your clients as to what's going on right now. And this is where relationships are very important. So right now, you should be reaching out to your lenders and to your closing attorneys. Speak with them, ask them about any special trends that they are seeing. How long is it taking them to process the loans? How long are the closing attorneys taking for title searches? And, just any processes, find out what they are, what's going on. That way you can educate your clients. Right now may not be the best time for a 10-day finance contingency or 10-day appraisal contingency.
It isn't. It's not made.
Okay,
right. Yeah.
Well, it's not.
Yeah, exactly.
So get with
give yourselves
people,
more time. Yeah.
Right. Give yourselves more time for all of your deadlines. When you write up those offers and write up those contracts, put your stipulations in there. If you're representing a buyer and a seller is not wanting to show properties, you can put an offer on there and put in the stipulations that the due diligence can begin once the seller allows showings. So there are ways to get around what's going on in the industry, because the go-getters are still out there. They're out there listing. Houses are still going under contract. It's just, you just have to be smart about it and protect your clients at all costs, even for your sellers. Virtual tours right now are going on. That way, you're still showing the property just with nobody in it. So just continue to lead. Let the world know, let your clients know that, things are still moving along. You may have some buyers who have gotten cold feet. Like you said, we've seen some transactions have, terminated because of that. Could be a loss of job. It could be a temporary loss of job. If that's the case, then keep the lines of communication open, because you don't know if that seller would even be willing to extend until that buyer is back at work,
Yeah, we have to be over communicating.
So you have to over communicate, but really, really get with your lenders, find out what they're seeing, any news information that they can provide for you so that you can disseminate it to your clients. If you're just disseminating information on social media, keep some of the frenzy down. Just keep communication open. Again, get with your lenders, get with your clients, be their trusted advisors, and get with your closing attorneys.
On all your contracts, sorry to cut you off, on all your contracts, make sure that we are building in extra time. We just need to be really smart about right now. So Keisha touched on it earlier. So, 7-day financing contingencies and 10-day, that's not wise right now. You're not protecting your clients. So financing contingencies, appraisal contingencies, inspections, how long does it take for us to get an inspector into a home right now is a complete, shot in the dark at the moment, because you're depending on, is the home inspector actually working, and are they willing to go in, and will the seller let them in, and do the buyers want to go, and the whole 9 yards. So give yourself plenty of time. And we're seeing that on both sides of the transaction, everyone's having to change a little bit in how they operated. The great thing is even though we've lost about, we're right between 15-17% of our transactions fell off, we're also seeing a large number of transactions continue to go in. What are you seeing in paperless pipeline?
They're still coming in. We're still getting contracts daily. So business has not stopped. And so don't stop your business. Whatever you do, just continue to reach out to your database, continue to send your clients those houses, set them up on searches. They're home. They can look for houses now, and you never know. I had a client who was on the fence. I set her up with a search, and she called me and asked me for my lender's information. So it can still work. They're still out there. They're on the computers. They don't have a lot to do right now except for look for houses and apply for loans. That's what they're doing. So, but just keep your business going. Don't give up. Just be smart, be cautious about what you do, protect yourself and your clients at all costs. Put in those extended days, explain to your clients, both buyers and sellers, why it's extended. And if you communicate with them and you take the lead and kind of guide them and direct them again as their trusted advisor, they'll appreciate what you're doing for them. And I'm going to continue to do pipeline training a little bit later, but I did want to touch on one thing as far as your DA request. For closing attorneys, for those closing attorneys who are not allowing agents to attend your closings, you cannot get a pay at close. That form is strictly for attendance. So you will have to either, whatever their method is, if they are going to mail the check or if they will allow you to come pick up the checks after closing, get with the closing attorney to find out what their process is. And you will have to bring it into the office.
We'll work on turning that around really quick for you, because we understand at the same time. So we're going to do our best to really work with you to get that turned around as quickly as you can. We're not trying to hold your money, I promise you.
Right. But then, with that being said, still be sure to go over the settlement statement with your client before they get to closing. Again, that's if you're not able to attend. Still answer any questions. If you cannot be there in person, FaceTime, you can still be there in some fashion. So they let them put you on the phone and you can kind of sit there and watch as they're signing their papers. So you can still be there. You just may have to be there virtually. But again, find out the process with the closing attorney. Make sure you're on with the lender again, and just, continue business.
And don't, that's really the biggest thing, is don't let this defeat you. Are you going to have to probably operate differently? Some of your clients want to go on a showing right now. Some of them won't. Will some of our sellers want to allow showings right now? Some of them won't. That doesn't mean that all of your business is shut down. That doesn't mean that everything is done. So we need to be doubling our engagement, reaching out even more than we ever have, kind of thing. This is a great time for us to build up our databases, set ourselves up for where we're going in the future, because we are going to come out of this. It's going to, and do we have a couple of weeks of this stinking while we get through all this? Absolutely. Could we end up with a brief period where everyone has to shelter in place? Well, if that's the case, then that's what we have to do. In the offices, even we'll at least have someone checking in every day, collecting checks, that kind of stuff. So we're going to continue to work behind the scenes on that. Things may get worse, but no matter what, this is going to be a short blip. This is not, and when you look at the data and you look at the numbers and you look how well prepared the economy is really to go through this, we're in really good shape. So please don't stress yourself on that, but do focus on getting ourselves ready to be able to capitalize coming out on the other side of this. And I don't mean capitalize in a negative way, but we need to be calming people's fears and getting them ready, because in a couple, this time next year, we're going to look back at this and be like, remember that, how crazy that was? That's how it's going to be. It's tough when we're in it, but be ready to take advantage of us jumping ahead as we move forward, because it is going to stink, but it's not going to be permanent. So let's get through this together and let's be the voice of reason.
And lastly, if anything changes as far as shelter in place, we'll definitely send out whatever processes and procedures, and how that changes. We'll definitely keep you abreast of, what is going on in the office and how we are going to continue to make this as seamless as possible.
Well, we're gonna do our best.
We'll do our best to, just make sure that we can kind of adjust with what's going on in the time. So just be on the lookout. Of course, if you have any questions at any time, give us a call the office, send an email, text.
Yeah.
You have all the numbers, but still, we're here to, make sure that we're still successful during this time.
And we love and appreciate you all, and know that we're here for you.
Yeah.
And anything that we can do, please reach out to us the same way, kind of thing. We're here as a resource. And so if you need me, if you need Keisha, my favorite phrase right now is call Keisha. So if you need anything, please call Keisha. But I'm also here as well. Please reach out to either one of us, Ming as well. If you need us, please. We love and appreciate you, and we're here for you. I pray that everyone is safe and that you're being wise through this time. But please don't let your business get destroyed because of this. So we love you. We appreciate you. And if I can be of any service, please let me know. Thank y'all.